Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. The Village of Ridgewood Village Council regular public meeting, September 8th, 2021. The time is 8 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a posting on the bulletin board in Village Hall, by mail to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to same as provided by law of a schedule including the date and time of this meeting. Roll call.
Councilwoman Perrin. Here. Councilwoman Reynolds.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Seaton.
Here.
And Mayor Knudsen.
Here. Please join us for the flag salute. Please join us in a moment of silence for our men and women serving our nation, our lost servicemen and women in Afghanistan, and all those who perished in Hurricane Ida. Thank you. I move the bills, claims, and vouchers and statements of funds on hand as of August 31st, 2021 be accepted as submitted.
Second.
Perrin. Yes. Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
And Knudsen.
Yes. I move that the Village Council minutes of August 11th, 2021, having been reviewed by the Village Council and now available in the Village Clerk's office, be approved as submitted.
Second.
Perrin. Yes. Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
And Knudsen.
Abstain. Okay. We'll start with proclamations. The first one is Fire Prevention Week, which I will proudly read. Whereas the Village of Ridgewood is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our town. And whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are in locations where people are at the greatest risk from fire. And whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires and home fire injuries, while heating equipment and smoking are the leading causes of home fire deaths. And whereas the Village of Ridgewood first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas the Village of Ridgewood residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. Whereas the residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas the 2021 Fire Prevention Week theme, Learn the Sounds of Fire Safety, from beeps to chirps, this year's campaign works to better educate the public about the sounds smoke alarms make, what those sounds mean, and how to respond to them. And whereas village residents should recognize the different sounds alarms make, and the action needed based on that sound is critical to preventing injury and death from fire. This year's theme also pays particular attention to smoke and carbon monoxide, alarms and alert devices that meet the needs of people who are deaf or hard of hearing. These include strobe lights, low-frequency alarms, and bed pillow shakers, which activate at the sound of the alarm. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood does hereby proclaim the week of October 3rd through October 9th, 2021, as Fire Prevention Week throughout the village, and urges all residents to protect their homes and families by heeding the important safety messages of Fire Prevention Week 2021. And with that, we will go on to our proclamation for Gold Star Mother's Day. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas the United States of America, through its armed forces, has had many heroes who have defended the lives and liberties of all their fellow Americans, and whereas many of these heroes have lost their lives in order to defend the virtues of our hard-won liberty and security, and whereas the parents, spouses, and children of these fallen heroes, known as America's Gold Star mothers and families, are aware of the exceptional spirit of service which their military family members possess, which led them to protect and preserve the freedoms which we, as Americans, enjoy every single day. And whereas the Gold Star families have the courage and strength to comfort other families, support veterans, and give back to their communities. And whereas the Congress of the United States, by Senate Joint Resolution 115 of June 23, 1936, has designated the last Sunday in September as Gold Star Mother's Day. And whereas Marine parents began an initiative several years ago to encourage Americans to light a luminary on Gold Star Mother's Day. And whereas on the evening of Sunday, September 26, 2021, residents of the village of Ridgewood will observe Gold Star Mother's Day at Memorial Park at Van Ness Square, or by placing a luminary at the end of their driveway at sundown, away from anything that can catch fire, to honor and acknowledge the mothers and families of our fallen heroes. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood, in recognition of this event, does hereby proclaim Sunday, September 26, 2021, as Gold Star Mother's Day in the Village of Ridgewood, and does hereby encourage all Ridgewood residents to light a luminary at their homes in honor and recognition of the families of the fallen soldiers throughout the United States of America.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman Reynolds will read a proclamation for National Breast Cancer Awareness Week.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas the Village of Ridgewood values the health of all of its citizens, and whereas the Village of Ridgewood supports awareness of diseases such as breast cancer, which affects the lives of its citizens, and whereas October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and whereas the National Breast Cancer Awareness Month educates women about the importance of early detection for breast cancer, and whereas since the inception of National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, mammography used has doubled and breast cancer death rates have declined. And whereas the Village of Ridgewood would like to promote the use of a mammography as the best available method of detecting breast changes that may be cancer. And whereas breast cancer deaths could decline further if all women ages 40 and older receive mammograms at regular intervals. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood urges all women and their families in the Village of Ridgewood to get the facts about mammography and proclaims October 2021 as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And as we rededicate ourselves to the pursuit of new and better ways to prevent, detect, and treat this devastating disease.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Perrin will read a proclamation for September's National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month.
Whereas September is known around the United States as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month and is intended to help promote awareness surrounding each of the suicide prevention resources available to us and our community, the simple goal is to learn how to help those around us and how to talk about suicide without increasing the risk of harm. And whereas suicidal thoughts can affect anyone regardless of age, gender, race, sexual orientation, income level, religion, or background. And whereas, according to the CDC, in 2016 alone, nearly 45,000 individuals died by suicide, and it is the 10th leading cause of death among adults and the second leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 24 in the United States. And whereas the Village of Ridgewood, New Jersey, is no different than any other community in the country, but chooses to publicly state and place our full support behind local educators, mental health professionals, athletic coaches, scout leaders, police officers, and parents, and partners in supporting our community in simply being available to one another. And whereas local organizations like Suicide Prevention Services, SPS, and national organizations like the National Alliance on Mental Health Illness, NAMI, are on the front lines of a battle that many still refuse to discuss in public, as suicide and mental illness remain taboo topics which are not spoken about. And whereas every resident of the Village of Ridgewood should understand that throughout life's struggles, we all need the occasional reminder that we are all silently fighting our own battles. And whereas the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood encourages all residents to take the time to inquire as to the well-being of their family, friends, and neighbors over the next few days, and to genuinely convey their appreciation for their existence by any gesture they deem appropriate. A simple phone call, message, handshake, or hug can go a long way towards helping someone realize that suicide is not the answer. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood does hereby proclaim September 2021 National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in the Village of Ridgewood, and asks our residents to open minds, save lives, and restore hope through prevention and intervention, through the use of education, advocacy, and collaboration.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Before we go to public comments, I just wanted to take a moment to remind everyone that last week our Village Council work session was canceled due to Hurricane Ida, and as a result, the Village Council this evening has been here since 5:30 on what we're calling a marathon meeting. We started the evening with a workshop, and then a closed session, and now we're in our public meeting, a special public meeting, and then this public meeting. So I wanted to publicly thank my council colleagues for being here, I'm sure they're exhausted at this point. Thank our village attorney and especially our village manager, who worked really overtime last week to pare down our 5:30 meeting agenda so that we could get this accomplished today. So thank you, everyone. And with that, we will go to public comments, not to exceed 3 minutes per person for a total of 40 minutes. Anyone who would like to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and public comment is open.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Lindenberg. I live at 165 Claremont Road. I'm here this evening to address the public health and transparency issues presented by a recent social media post by Mayor Knudsen, and to ask that the Council take specific actions to address these issues going forward. On August 20th, Mayor Knudsen shared a post on Facebook regarding Ridgewood's back-to-school vaccination event, including a photo of her receiving a vaccination shot. While I commend the mayor for overcoming her fears and getting the vaccine, the post raised several important questions among the community. None of these questions have received a public response, and questions and concerns raised on the mayor's public Facebook page have been mysteriously deleted. I have also written to the mayor and to the rest of this council privately and have not received any response. While Mayor Knudsen in the past has repeatedly committed to ensuring transparency and to correcting any misinformation that may spread around the community, thus far this has not happened. Given the lack of transparency, the fact that she has been at meetings maskless despite public interest in minimizing community spread of this virus, and the public nature of this post, I will present the same questions publicly here tonight. Was this a first, second, or booster vaccine? If this was a first or second shot, then holding meetings with unvaccinated, maskless attendees unnecessarily puts both the public and our village staff at risk, not to mention setting a terrible example. Were the other members of this council aware of this? This is particularly alarming given the shift of public meetings back into this room without any option, despite repeated vocal demands for a remote participation option. The CDC's guidance for masks is very clear, regardless of whether or not someone has contracted the virus in the past. And I'll quote, "If you are not fully vaccinated and aged 2 or older, you should wear a mask in indoor public places." As far as I can tell, and I'm open to other explanations for sure if they're offered, only one of two options is possible. Either the mayor did not understand the guidance, which seems particularly unlikely given the signs on the front door of this building, which have read, "If you are not vaccinated, we ask that you please wear a mask in the building," or the mayor chose to ignore this guidance. I cannot say for sure which option is correct, but I do know that one is negligent and the other is downright malicious. Given the public position of power that the mayor holds and that the rest of this council holds, the situation must be addressed. I would ask that you take proactive and constructive action through two common sense policy changes. One, given the spread of the more virulent Delta variant of this virus, implement a full mask mandate in all public village buildings. And 2, immediately re-enable Zoom, phone calls, emails, or some other form of remote
Thank you very
participation
much,
in this
Mr.
public
Lindenberg.
forum.
Have a good evening.
Thank you very much for your time.
Any other public comments? With that, we'll close public comments. And we'll go on to the village manager's report.
I would like to say one thing. I was dismayed with the rescheduling of our September 1st meeting to tonight. It turned out that 5:30 was within the Rosh Hashanah holiday. And I communicated with Rabbi Fine at Temple Israel and made him aware of the fact that we didn't choose to do it this way, but we had to do it this way. So I just wanted to let the public know.
Thank you. I also spoke with Rabbi Fine and understood the same. So thank you for raising that. We appreciate it. With that, we'll go on to the village manager's report.
You Call the Shots Back to School COVID-19 vaccination event will be tomorrow, September 9th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the Graydon Pool parking lot. It's open to all ages. Appointments are encouraged but not required. Individuals from ages 12 to 17 must be accompanied by a parent or guardian to receive the vaccine. Kona Ice, fun activities and prizes and snacks will be there. If it's raining, the event will move to the Patrick Mancuso Senior Center on the ground floor of Village Hall. All garbage will be picked up curbside through September 10th. Residents may put out their bulk waste items that were damaged, destroyed in Storm Ida on their regular garbage collection days. The curbside pickup will allow the bulk waste to be picked up at the same time. Rear yard garbage pickup will resume on September 13th, and the recycling center will open tomorrow, September 9th. Music in the Night is sponsored by the Ridgewood Guild. There's live music, which takes place at various locations throughout the Central Business District on Friday nights through September 10th. The Ridgewood Farmers Market is organized by the Chamber of Commerce. It's open Sundays from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's located at the Ridgewood train station parking lot and provides Jersey fresh seasonal produce. The Farmers Market is open every Sunday through the end of October. The Ridgewood Chamber of Commerce 26th Annual Car Show will take place on Friday, September 10th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Weather permitting, no rain date. It looks like it's going to be a nice night, thankfully. There've been a few rainouts. It is held around Memorial Park at Van Ness Square and along East Ridgewood Avenue. This is always a very popular event. Ridgewood residents received a fall listing of recreation programs and health offerings for those who are 55 and older. Most of the programs are held in the community center in the lower level of Village Hall. Please contact the Recreation Department to make a reservation. We have a September 11th commemorative ceremony, which will take place at 7 p.m. in Memorial Park at Van Ness Square to remember the 12 Ridgewood residents who were lost on that fateful day, as well as all lives that were lost. 20 years later, these residents are still in our hearts, and they will never be forgotten. In addition, portraits of the 12 residents are on display in the Public Library Auditorium for the month of September. The Bergen County Utilities Authority will hold their household hazardous waste disposal this Saturday, September 11th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., rain or shine, at Bergen County Campgaw Mountain Reservation at 200 Campgaw Road in Mawa. Suggested items are propane gas cylinders, used motor oil, fire extinguishers, fluorescent lights, insecticides, and vehicle batteries. Village Council upcoming meetings are broadcast live on Village website and Channel 34 on FiOS, through Swagit on our website. They are also available after the meeting on YouTube. Upcoming meetings are September 22nd is our next work session at 7:30. October 6th is also a work session at 7:30. October 13th is our public meeting of October at 8 o'clock. And October 27th is the final work session in October at 7:30. That's all I have. The only other thing I did want to say is I want to thank all of our staff who came in to help clean up this Village Hall, which got approximately 4 inches of water in the ground floor. They were here, they were mopping, they were cleaning up. I want to thank our streets department who helped to clear out our parking lot, which was covered in mud. I want to thank our parks and recreation personnel who worked diligently to, clean up our parks and to help out in various areas. So it's a big cleanup. We're still undergoing it, but luckily, because of the fact that we have tile 5 feet up, we were able to go ahead and clean up on our own instead of hiring a service company to come in, because we did not have to replace sheetrock. So I just want to thank those village employees for working so diligently so that we could come back to work and be safe. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Perry?
Thank you, Mayor. The Chamber of Commerce met this morning. We discussed the possibility of the village buying the town garage property at 120 Franklin Avenue, and everyone agreed that it is an eyesore, something should be done, and then after that we didn't have much agreement. We talked about the garage signs you probably see around town now. There are wayfinding signs to the Hudson Street garage. They're in several places. There is not one as you come out from the tunnel from the west side into the east side, and there really isn't a good spot for another sign either, so I can see why we don't have one. But the suggestion was made that you can see from that point the building itself, the garage itself, and if a banner were put on it facing the people who come out of the tunnel, that may give them a sense of direction. The mayor mentioned the car show, that we're really looking forward to that. They have been doing hybrid meetings, by the way, for their networking. And so some people are appearing in person and others are appearing in a Zoom meeting. They're finding that it's a little awkward who to look at, but they're working through it. Feed the Front Lines starts tomorrow, the delivery of 200,000 meals with the state EDA grant. And let's see, the Open Space Committee hasn't met, but if you look on the village website, the Open Space Committee's webpage has been revamped. There are beautiful photographs of the open spaces, and our next meeting will probably be September 23rd. That's not our regular date. It's a week after, but that is to avoid Yom Kippur. And Green Ridgewood met on September 2nd. There are 2 women who are working with Green Ridgewood to establish an adopted drain storm system, an adopted drain program. With the last few storms we've had, you see how important a storm water system is during flooding. And so we have a first draft put together, and you'll be hearing more about it. We also discussed the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and that affected the committee's priorities. And we decided to move forward with education of ways to decrease reliance on fossil fuels and to move towards electrification. And in that vein, we're planning an electrical vehicle mini car show at the Farmers Market on Sunday, October 17th. We're also planning another styrofoam recycling event. The Central Business District Committee, Advisory Committee met on August 12th, and the village CFO, Robert Rooney, came and spoke with us about the Hudson Street Garage, publicizing it, wayfinding signs, how to advertise it, and budgeting. And he was kind enough to say that he would be willing to meet with the informal landlord group that has formed as an initiative from the CBDAC. So I look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. The Green Team met Thursday, and there is 2 days left before the next round of deadlines are due for our submission to Sustainable Jersey. The village has already been approved up to a bronze level, and there's a few points that we have to get through comments made on the original application, so we'll submit those by the deadline. and see if we could get recertified to the silver level. And then I've been meeting, Ridgewood Arts Council has been meeting weekly, getting ready for an event on October 2nd downtown on East Ridgewood Avenue, a Beatles-themed arts festival. So there will be singing, dancing, and plenty of Beatles music. So that will happen Saturday, October 2nd, beginning at noon, with a rain date of October 9th. And I think that's everything I have.
That's it. Very good. Councilwoman Reynolds?
Thank you, Mayor. So the Planning Board has met twice since our last council meeting. The first time was on August 17th. Under a Historic Preservation Commission review, we looked at two items. The first was proposed new construction at 19 North Broad Street, which is where Bagelicious used to be. The proposal calls for ground floor commercial use and then 2 floors above it, each floor having 2 residential units, so a total of 4 residential units. The second proposal was for a sign at 41 North Broad Street, which is going to be the new location for Bagelicious. Can't wait for that. And both of those items were approved. The application for Tasco Enterprises, which is at 315 East Glen Avenue, continued that evening, but it was not concluded, and it will be continued at the October 5th meeting. There was further discussion to amend Chapter 190 of the Village Code to modify allowed fence heights for residential uses. The village planner still wanted to tweak a couple of things as it relates to corner properties, and so it was going to be continued on September 7th, which was last night. So we had another planning board meeting last night. And just to start with, I wanted to make an announcement that the September 21st planning board meeting is going to be a very big meeting. It's going to be the starting of phase 2 of the master plan process. So there will be a PowerPoint presentation, and this will be our guiding document for the future of Ridgewood. Anybody is welcome. We want lots of people here if possible. You can sign up. You don't have to sign up, but we'd like to know how many people to plan for. To sign up, you'd need to go to www.ridgewoodvillagemp, as in masterplan.org. So once again, that's www.ridgewoodvillagemp.org. We had a Historic Preservation Commission review last night for signage at 20 Wilsey Square for a new business called Forever Young, and that was approved. The Tasco Enterprises, 315 East Glen Avenue, was carried to October 5th. And we heard an application for 142 Kenilworth Road for a minor subdivision. This was to relocate a lot line between 2 neighbors, and that application was approved. The discussion for the ordinance to amend Chapter 190 of the Village Code to modify fence heights for residential uses was again carried to the next meeting. So that's it for the Planning Board. And the Citizen Safety Advisory Committee, which has been off for the summer, will have its first meeting next Thursday, September 16th at 7:30. I believe it will be downstairs, as far as I know, with COVID restrictions. As long as nothing changes, it will be here. And that's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to start with the Historic Preservation Commission. We'll begin meeting again in October. I believe we have our first items for an agenda, and our Planning Board Secretary, Board of Adjustment Secretary, has reached out to all of the appointed members, so we're really excited about that. Let me see. Ridgewood Access, Community Access is 2021 virtual. We have a whole bunch of items that are going to be happening for Ridgewood Access Weekend. I ask everyone to visit ridgewoodlibrary.org/Access Ridgewood to learn about the action-packed weekend, which includes senior programming, Preparing for Your Health, Seeing Eye Dog educational program, our film, 25 Prospect Street, the family concert featuring our favorite Marlene Pillow, our live music and dance, Ridgewood Sharing the Arts, fashion show, Access Ridgewood Fashion Show is the premier event, and that will be on Facebook Live. And then our interfaith service, 7 to 8 p.m. at Friends to Friends Church. So we're really excited. We are embracing our abilities, disabilities, special gifts, and special needs. And once again, we ask everyone to visit ridgewoodlibrary.org/access Ridgewood. And finally, everybody, please come to the car show. It's really going to be exciting. And I will be selecting the mayor's car for the mayor's trophy. So it's really exciting. We invite everyone downtown Ridgewood. Come join the excitement and the fun. It's a Ridgewood favorite, and we'll be really excited about that trophy. So I don't even know anything about cars. Anyway, okay, with that, we are going on to our public hearing on the adoption of pre-qualification regulations for the utilization in connection with the controlling qualifications of prospective bidders for the interior restoration and rehabilitation of the Zabriskie Shedler House. The pre-qualification regulations for prospective bidders for the interior restoration and rehabilitation for the Zabriskie Shedler House are being considered this evening. Establishing the pre-qualification regulations for prospective bidders is required due to the fact that the village is receiving grant funding for this project from the Bergen County Historic Preservation Trust Fund. The public hearing this evening is specifically on the pre-qualification regulations for the interior restoration and rehabilitation of the Zabriskie Shedler House, and the Village Council will listen to comments from the public specifically on these pre-qualification regulations for the interior restoration and rehabilitation. The public hearing is now open.
Second.
Perrin.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes, and now the public hearing is open. So if anybody wants to speak to the pre-qualification regulations? No one? I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Perrin.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. Okay.
The following resolution, number 21-266, will be adopted by a consent agenda with one vote by the village council. There is a brief description next to it. The resolution will be read by title only. May I have a motion?
I move resolution 21-266.
Second.
Perrin.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes.
There's no introduction or public hearing on Ridgewood Water ordinances. We do have a resolution for Ridgewood Water, which is number 21-267. It will be adopted by a consent agenda with one vote by the village council, and it will be read by title only. Award contract under state contract and rescind resolution number 21-209, emergency generator.
I move resolution 21-267.
Second.
Perrin.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. Okay, we have our introduction. I move the first reading of Ordinance 3873.
Have a second?
Second.
Perrin.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes, so ordered. The clerk, please read Ordinance 3873 by title.
An ordinance vacating the public interest in a certain 40-foot right-of-way located at the westerly intersection of Barrington Road and Upper Boulevard, and to provide the vacated area be incorporated into the adjacent properties.
I move that ordinance 3873 be adopted on first reading and that October 13th, 2021 be fixed as a date for the hearing thereon.
I second the motion.
Perrin.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes, I'll recuse from the next hearing.
I move the clerk read ordinance 3869 by title on second reading and that the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Perrin.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
And Mayor Newton is recusing herself.
Will the clerk please read the title of Ordinance 3869?
An ordinance to amend Shall Ordinance 3835, adopted on February 10th, 2021, to fix salaries, wages, and other compensation of and for firefighters and fire superior officers of the Village of Ridgewood, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey.
The public hearing is now open. No one? All right. The public hearing is now closed.
Second.
I move that ordinance...
Wait, let me just do roll call.
Oh, that's right. We have-
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Seaton.
Yes. I move the public.
I move that ordinance 3869 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
I second that motion.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Seaton.
Yes.
Okay, very good. I move the clerk read ordinance 3870 by title on second reading and that the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3870?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-33, Permit Parking.
Public hearing is now open. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3870 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
I second the motion.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3871 by title on second reading and the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3871?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 145 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood Fees at Section 145-6, enumeration of fees relating to code chapters.
Public hearing is now open. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3871 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3872 by title on second reading and that the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3872?
An ordinance authorizing the acquisition of certain real property within the Village of Ridgewood.
Public hearing is now open. I move the public hearing be closed.
I need a second.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3872 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
I second the motion.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes.
The following resolutions, number 21-268 through 21-286, with the exception of 21-270, which has been removed from the agenda, will be adopted by a consent agenda with one vote by the village council. The resolutions will be read by title only. Award contract disposal of recyclable materials. Award contract 2022 Ford Police Explorer, Police Department. Award contract preparation of village council meeting minutes July 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. Title 59 approval, sale of finished compost from Lakeview Compost Facility. Award contract, sale of finished compost from Lakeview Compost Facility. Rescind resolution 21-223, award contract under state contract vehicle tracking system. Award contract under state contract vehicle tracking system, January 2021 to June 2021. Award contract under state contract vehicle tracking system, July 2021 to June 2022. Award contract under state contract portable radios emergency services. Authorize additional contract for 2021 road resurfacing and repairs of various streets in the Village of Ridgewood for sidewalk work, West Glen Avenue. Authorize electronic tax sales. Authorize tax collector to charge for mailing of tax sale notices. Declare IT property surplus. Appoint members to Zoning Board of Adjustment. Appoint member to Central Business District Advisory Committee. Authorize cleanup of 20 Pond area by the Ridgewood Parks and Recreation Department and the Ridgewood AM Rotary Club. Temporarily extend time of variance approval due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Approve property maintenance for abandoned property. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Knutson.
Yes. Okay. And with that, we'll go back to public comment, not to exceed 5 minutes per person. Name and address for the record.
Hello, everyone. My name's Catherine Espinal. I live in Garfield, but we just opened up a new business on 223 Chestnut Street. I just wanted to ask a question. Were we supposed to get introduced in the beginning for like new businesses that opened up in the beginning or towards the end?
Yes, if you just say a few words about your business and
100%.
indicate the name and what you're doing, that would be great.
100%. So we're
Just
called.
bring that microphone up because I can hardly hear
Yeah,
you.
no, is this better?
And speak up. It's
Perfect.
your big opportunity.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous today. So we, like I said, my second week here in Ridgewood. I worked in Orangeburg, New York for 2 years, and then we just recently moved here to Ridgewood. We're called Varsity House Personal Training on Chestnut Street, right across the street from the municipal garage. And what we do strength and conditioning training. So we work with athletes, work with 40 plus, all age group with the adult population. But yeah, so I believe our neighbors are right here. Hello. And yeah, so I'm here on behalf of Varsity House. We do as early as 6 a.m. classes, as late as 6 p.m. classes. So if anyone would like to train, just let me know. I will leave business cards somewhere. Where can I leave them? But yeah, so strength and conditioning, let me know if you guys want some training. Like I said, I'm so happy to be here. Your food here is amazing in Ridgewood, but it's bad for my bank account. So yeah.
So welcome, and do you have a website?
We do. It's varsityhousegym.com. And just type in www.varsityhousegym.com, and I'll leave some business cards on that table where the pamphlets were as well.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
For anybody who didn't catch it, it was
varsityhousegym.com. Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
and
Have
good
a great
luck.
night, everyone.
Thank you. Put those right there on the table.
Thank you.
Great. Okay.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead, Hans.
Hans-Jürgen Lehmann, 234 Union Street. Tonight, I would like to raise some awareness around a public health issue. Outside of Village Hall is a sign that reads as follows: if you are not vaccinated, we ask that you please wear a mask in the building. On July 14th, I was among many attenders at a village council meeting. It was the meeting when the village bid farewell to Donna Jackson upon her retirement and welcomed a new police officer into the ranks. The room was easily filled with 50 or so people. A certain person on this council presided over both events, all the while not following basic protocols during the pandemic. The council member hugged any number of persons in Donna's circle of family and friends, as well as the young family of the police officer. She used the same mic that others in the room were using. She did all of that while not wearing a mask and apparently not being vaccinated. When I got up to speak that evening, I was asked to remove my mask and then spoke into a mic that had been used by any number of other persons. At no time did anyone sanitize the lectern. I had assumed that everyone on the council was vaccinated and was practicing proper precautions such as wearing a mask and social distancing. Then I became aware of a posting by the council member where she was finally vaccinated in August, well after the above event. I also point to the Pride event that was held in June at Van Ness Square. The council member again played a prominent role. The council member again played a prominent role at the gathering and was seen hugging and getting close to any number of persons. There she also shared the mic with any number of other speakers, all the while not wearing a mask. So I want to state emphatically that I hold this behavior to be dangerous to others, heedless to the health of others, and in general outrageous for a public official who has received instructions from our governor and president, even our own health department. So I ask, what part of being responsible do you not get? This seems like a good time to reconsider virtual access in the time of COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Jan Phillips, 234 Union Street, Ridgewood. So I just have 4 points or questions. One, is the ribbon cutting for the old sale funds building still scheduled for September 16th? And is it open to the public and what time? During the village manager's report, during the first meeting of the council's return to non-virtual meetings, the annual coffee and the village council was moved from September 11th to the 16th. Is that still happening? Will Pride be on the 2022 village calendar? And my last request is on the village website, the mayor's seeing to it that access committee minutes will be available online, and we're really excited about that. But can events such as Pride, Access Weekend, the Village Council Coffee, and the ribbon cutting also be included on the online calendar that's on the website? Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right. With that, we'll close public comments and make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
We're in favor. Okay.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening, and good luck to you.
I'll see you on Friday. I'll be here for the car show.
Yeah, very good. Bye now.
This that is mine. Yes.